In this lesson, I'm going to introduce you to the process of protein synthesis. Well, what is protein synthesis? Protein synthesis is just simply the process of making proteins. The word synthesis means to make something. So, protein synthesis, we're making proteins. So let's look at what we already know. So, what we already know is that DNA contains stretches called genes. And our genes are wound up into a double helix. And when we pull that apart, we stretch it out, we're going to have genes. And those genes code for the instructions for different things in our body. So our genes codes for our eye color, it codes for our hair color, our skin color, it codes for certain enzymes in our body that we need to carry out certain processes. It also codes for certain hormones. And so protein synthesis is important in this aspect is because it is necessary to carry on life. So the genes code for the instructions to make polypeptides, and polypeptides form the proteins. And so polypeptides are made from amino acids, and amino acids are the monomers for proteins. Okay? Also, we know that mRNA is a copy of a gene in the DNA. Why is this important? Our mRNA is different than the DNA in the aspect of the DNA being a double helix and then an mRNA simply being a copy of one of the single strands of the DNA. Okay? So here I have a graphic organizer. And in this graphic organizer, we're just going to take a look at an overview of the process of protein synthesis. And so down at the bottom in the right-hand corner, what you'll see is a word bank. And in this word bank, it contains key terms. And these are words that some of them we've already been introduced to. However, there's a couple words in here that's necessary for the process of protein synthesis because protein synthesis happens in two steps. Okay, so let's start at the top. So here we start off with our DNA. So we have our DNA. Remember that our DNA is a double helix. So our DNA is wound up into a double helix. Okay, and that DNA is actually unwound here, and it's unwound by the RNA polymerase. And the RNA polymerase is going to unwind the DNA double helix, and then it's going to allow for the copying of one of the strands of the DNA. And that strand of DNA is going to make RNA. But it's going to make messenger RNA. And so messenger RNA is actually one of our words down here in our word bank. And then there's three types of RNA, but we're going to come back to that. So let's just go back to the process. So the process, the very first process or the very first step in protein synthesis would be transcription. So what is transcription? So transcription basically comes from the Latin word transcribe, transcribere, or transcript. And that just simply means to write. So this is important because in transcription, the process of transcription, which is the first step of protein synthesis, is to write. What are we going to be writing? And so what we're going to be writing, what it's going to be writing is going to be writing the code for the DNA instructions to make a particular protein. Okay? So we have our DNA unwound. In the very first step of protein synthesis, which is transcription. Okay, so the DNA is unwounded, and now we have our mRNA. So here, where we have RNA, we have three types. And if we follow the chart, what we'll see here is we have something that is made from one strand of DNA and so what would that something be? That something, if we take a look at our word bank, would be mRNA. Okay, our mRNA is our messenger RNA, and our messenger RNA is simply made from one of the strands of DNA and so we need to fill in this blank. And here, the mRNA, which is being made from the DNA, and so we know the DNA is actually located in the nucleus. And so this is what we'll put here in this blank. So from our graphic organizer, we have the DNA is being unwound through the process of transcription that is making mRNA, and that is made in the nucleus.